luck. All right. All right, you rascals. It's time for Nymn's News Network. Now on YouTube, by the way. So everyone say hi, YouTube. All right, so we have a pretty long one this week. In case you don't know what Nymn's News Network is, it's a weekly recap where we talk about a bunch of things that happened since the last Nymn's News Network, things we care about, things we don't care about, and everything in between. Start off with something science-y. Czeket, the European Space Agency, the ESA, has released what is the highest resolution image of the sun ever taken. What? That image was taken by their Solar Orbiter. That's a spacecraft that left Earth a little over 5 years ago. And the aim of this thing was precisely this, to observe the sun at a closer distance. So now they have dropped a new picture. We're going to take a look at it. It's a composite of over 200 images taken by the Solar Orbiter on March 9th, when the spacecraft was some 77 million kilometers away from the sun. This picture is 12,544 by 12,544 pixels. And it covers an area that is approximately 2,300 million kilometers squared. Yeah, it's kind of crazy. Here's what the whole thing looks like in all of its glory holes. So you can zoom in and see it really high def. Let's talk about the Oscars, Wolfest. The Academy is introducing a stricter rule for the jury when it comes to voting on the Oscars. Right now, Academy members can vote on any nominations and categories where they feel qualified. In some categories like documentary and international feature, voters have been asked to confirm that they watched all nominated films. In any other category, the Academy simply trusts their members that they watch the movies when they're voting in the category. So, to clarify what I just said, they have not double-checked and made sure or even asked that everyone in the jury has actually seen the movies that they are voting on for the Oscar, which is pretty bizarre. So now the Academy is making a pretty big change, starting with this upcoming awards seasons. The members will be required to confirm whether they have watched every nominated film in a category before they can vote on it. Movies watched on the Academy streaming platform will automatically be recorded, and films watched elsewhere can be logged through a simple online form. That's how it works. So yeah, a rule meant to make the vote more fair and informed, especially for smaller films that might otherwise get overlooked. But it's only about the final vote, not nominations. Now for a completely different story. The menu at Disney theme parks restaurants are carefully managed to make sure that all the food listings are accurate, especially when it comes to allergy information. Menu production managers are responsible for entering and updating details like ingredients and wine origins, and customers rely on that information to stay safe. After someone leaves the company, they are supposed to lose access to these internal systems to prevent any issues. But one former menu manager who goes by the name of Michael Schewer got into this system and changed the menu details. He falsely marked foods as safe for people with certain allergies, and he also changed the origin locations of certain wines. Not 100% sure why he did all of this, but I'm assuming he was disgruntled and he wanted to fuck them over somehow. Even though the changes were caught before reaching the guests, the authorities weren't very happy with his actions, and he now got a 3-year sentence in jail for changing the Disney park menu. Google Chrome is for sale, in case you guys didn't know. Well, it might be for sale, I should say, right? Because of Google's search monopoly, the US Department of Justice is proposing now that Google needs to sell Google Chrome as part of the remedies phase of the trial. And now multiple companies have expressed interest. Yes, this part is sort of old news, but more and more companies are now coming forward saying that they want to buy Google Chrome. Who's going to buy Google Chrome in the end? I don't know. It might be one of these three companies, starting off with Perplexity AI. This is the chief business officer, Dmitry Shevelenko, and he testified that his company could successfully run Chrome and highlighted ongoing struggles with what he termed Google's restrictive agreements with phone makers, describing the situation as having a gun to their head. Next up, there's Yahoo. This is the general manager of Yahoo, Brian Provost, and he stated that Yahoo is developing their own browser prototype, but that they would eagerly eagerly purchase Chrome if available. He called Chrome arguably the most important strategic player of the web, and he indicated that Yahoo's owner, called Apollo Global Management, could finance this multi-billion-dollar acquisition. Another buyer that has stepped forward is OpenAI, and this is the product chief, Nick Turley. He has also indicated that the AI company would consider buying Google Chrome if Google is forced to sell it. We're going to Japan for our next story. A Japanese music producer had spent 10 years saving up to finally buy his dream car, a brand new white Ferrari 458 Spider worth around 250,000 euros. Honkan is his name, known for his work with the boy group Chokorabi. He was thrilled to finally show off his prize purchase. Excited to take it for a spin, he drove it around in a ring road near Tokyo, but within a very short time, his dream turned into a nightmare. While he was driving, he noticed smoke coming out of the car. Initially thought it was coming from another car, but then he eventually realized the danger, pulled over, and got out just in time. Within 20 minutes, firefighters managed to put out the flames, but by then, almost nothing was left of the Ferrari except the front bumper. Honkan later shared on social media how terrified he was, saying he feared the car might explode. He even joked that he might be the only person in Japan to have such a disaster happen with a Ferrari. As of now, police is still investigating what caused the fire, and to make matters worse, it's unclear whether the car was even insured. All right, next up for you AI haters. For the last 6 months, CADA, a radio station in Sydney, had been posting a new weekday show that was hosted by a woman named Thai. Nothing special about that, of course. Until recently, when the listeners discovered something sussy about this host. They knew her name was Thai, but someone noticed that her last name was nowhere to be found. In fact, no personal information on Thai whatsoever was available anywhere. So who is it? Who is Thai then? Well, it's not really a who. It's a what, because she's actually AI. So this radio station had been airing a show for 6 months with an AI host without disclosing it, and nobody had noticed it either. Her voice was based on a real employee, but the personality was completely AI. There is no law in Australia that requires radio stations to disclose whether or not they are using AI, but many people understandably felt they were being misled and that it was disrespectful, especially because Thai was supposed to represent diversity as a young woman of color. They had a picture of her that was just of someone else. So instead of giving the opportunity to real diverse broadcasters, they just used this token AI instead. Any Minions fans in chat? Check out Liesel Benneke, a Western Australian woman. She has earned the Guinness World Record when it comes to collecting the most minions. She has a collection of a whooping 1,035 minions right now. Her collection includes clothing, movie posters, stuffed animals, keychains, figurines, and even a tattoo. When she was asked about her thoughts about being associated with the Minions, she said that she likes being associated with characters that bring people such joy. Her favorite Minion is called Stuart, and she even has a gigantic Stuart that she takes with her for a drive. And don't worry, chat, she makes sure to buckle him in with the seatbelt when she drives. Apparently, her collection is showing no sign of stopping. She plans to buy more Minions on her trip to Minion Land, Universal Studios in Singapore. Check out this cute little guy, huh? This is Valerie, a miniature dash hunt, and Valerie went missing in November 2023 when she was camping with her owners. This is Josh Fishlock and Georgia Gardner and Valerie, of course. They went camping at Kangaroo Island. That's, of course, in Australia. And this tiny dog was weighing less than 4 kilograms at the time. It ran away after strangers tried to help her. They searched for the dog for a week, but there was no sign of her. And so her heartbroken poor owners eventually had no choice but to return home. They were scared that she had fallen prey to predators like snakes or large lizards. But some volunteers of the Kangala Wildlife Rescue came up with a plan to to try to find and capture this missing dog. They used pieces of the dog's favorite toys, food, and a t-shirt that was soaked with the scent of its owners in an attempt to lure her into a cage that could then be shut remotely. And last Friday, ladies and gentlemen, their plan finally paid off. After 529 days on her own, Valerie walked into the cage and was then captured safely. Although she was very wary at first, she quickly calmed down and fell asleep inside of the cage. She's now in good health, getting some rest, and then she's eventually, or maybe already it's happened now as the article has a few days on it, she will be reunited with her family. Yippee! Nym's Australia News Network. Yeah. Infamous discussion forum 4chan is now looking like it's back again after they were hacked some 2 weeks ago. In a blog post, 4chan is describing the events that led to an unauthorized access to the source code and content on the forum databases. This led then to 4chan's moderators shutting down the services in the hope of minimizing vandalism of the service. The exact data that was leaked in the breach is unclear, but it has previously been said that emails and IP addresses of moderators and administrators were leaked along with internal chat logs. Currently, the 4chan forums are up, but it is not possible to post images to the service right now. And a permanent change is that you can no longer post .swf files to the service. You can also not post PDF files, at least not initially, but it might be possible to post in the future, according to indications from this 4chan blog post. Chat, I'm not sure why we're reporting on this, but this is the Kentucky Derby 2025, one of America's most iconic horse racing events, and they are getting a surprising new sponsor this year, a Japanese game developer called Cygames. And they're not just sponsoring the event, they're bringing playable demos of their games to this 151st Derby, including Uma Musume Pretty Derby, which is apparently a Japanese gacha game, hugely popular, where you have to collect and race anime-style horse girls. While anime collaborations with sports events is not exactly new, seeing a Japanese gacha game tied so close with the Derby is definitely unexpected. Apparently, Cygames is going big with a massive booth, and they're even going to sponsor the Unbridled Sydney Stakes, and they're offering a really high prize pool, 400 grand for a grade 3 race. Okay, let's do another strange story. So this is Heather Pankey, and for years, she's quietly been stealing money from customer accounts at the First National Bank of Commerce in Pocahontas, cool name, Pocahontas in Arkansas. And the investigators said that she accessed accounts without permission, and then she transferred funds into a joint account that she shared with her grandma. And then, in order to cover her tracks, she'd moved money from one customer's account to another, so it created like a confusing patterns of these missing funds. It wasn't until March 20th when a suspicious transaction on a deceased customer account failed to post that the fraud was finally uncovered. In total, authorities said she stole over $240,000. But the most funny thing about this story, and really the reason we brought this up, is because in a court statement, she claimed, and I quote, she had simply borrowed money from a couple of customers. And that is what she thought she'd get away with, and that they wouldn't notice that she had been borrowing some money. Once the investigation confirmed these unauthorized transactions, a judge found probable cause on April 21st. So she's been charged with multiple crimes now, including theft of property, forgery, financial identity fraud, and computer fraud. Oopsie. She was arrested April 23rd and booked into the county detention center. She remains in custody as the case moves through the court system. Now let's take a look at some various things that's been taking place around the world in this past week. First of all, in Moscow, check it out. A metro passenger nearly missed his ride, but managed to roll into the vehicle in the very last second. Pretty impressive move. Next up then, in Iceland, check out this beautiful, stunning footage. This is a shot of auroras. They are dancing over a waterfall. The waterfall is called Detti Foss. Aurora Borealis, located entirely above this waterfall. Apparently so. Japanese zipper giant YKK has unveiled a prototype of a self-propelled zipper. It zips itself. It's got a built-in motor and a gear mechanism. It can close itself with the push of a button on a connected wired remote control. This is of course primarily intended for larger products like zipping up a tent, a big tent or something like that. Heading to Australia again, next up then, Brisbane specifically. A driver recorded a meteor with his dashboard camera when he was driving home after some Easter celebration. Take a look at that, pretty neat. For our record of the week, check this one out. Yep, the world's fastest iPop. This is Williams Martin Sanchez Lopez from Uruguay, and he can basically booba in real life.
Williams Martin Sanchez Lopez says it all started when he was around 8 or 9 years old. It became a game between himself and other kids that he could move the upper and lower muscles around his eyes. Over time, he perfected this skill.
Fuck, man. Alright, we need some eye bleach after that, so check it out. Simba, a border collie with a musical talent. Simba's owners managed to record him playing on the glockenspiel, but Simba can actually play more than 10 different musical instruments and even has his own Spotify account with his own music. French robotics company Neo Robotics has unveiled a new, slightly different industrial robot. It's called Aru, and it's designed to perform maintenance and inspections. And look, it's like a multi-jointed design which can allow it to navigate stairs, among other things. And it also has, it can transform into various different shapes, which can, of course, be very handy when it needs to come into tight spaces. Yesterday in Adinkerke in Belgium, the 5th annual European Championship Seagull Screeching took place. And here we have the winner. This is Anna Brindland from Denmark. She said she practiced a lot and she's very happy with her victory. Not bad. All right, those are some of the things that happened around the world this past week. I have a question about this robot predetermined. I don't think I want to hear it. Okay, chat, now it's time for some quickie stories that aren't maybe worth going in depth on, but still worth bringing up. Mostly entertainment news this week, but a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Language learning app Duolingo is branching out, and it will soon be able to teach you how to improve at chess. That's right, the app's new chess course will use short interactive puzzle exercises to teach the rules and strategies of the game. The new chess course is now being launched as a beta test on iOS and only in English to begin with. Amazon's The Wheel of Time TV series that's based on Robert Jordan's fantasy novels. It's about, if you don't know, a group of young friends who get important roles in a battle between light and darkness. Anyway, this is becoming a game. The upcoming game will be developed by iWat Studios. That's the production company that was also involved in developing the TV series. The game has been described as an RPG game that takes place in an open world. Sega has greenlit an Outrun film. That's right, this old retro game. And who else is going to be directing it if not Michael Bay? And for some reason, Sydney Sweeney is producing it. So yeah, this is a 1986 arcade classic game. It features Ferrari racing that you do to impress on the ladies. And this is, of course, just joining a big parade of trends lately when it comes to adapting games into film or shows. On the topic of Sydney Sweeney, she is set to star in Split Fiction. Yeah, apparently she's talking to Joseph Fares, or maybe not talking to him actually, but the production team of the upcoming Split Fiction movie. And she's also going to be executive producer for this movie. Don't know yet if she's going to be playing Mio or Zoe, or neither. Probably one of them though. And the film is going to be directed by John M. Chu. He is the guy behind Wicked, that film. And the script is going to be written by Rhett Reese and Paul Wernick. and they wrote the script for Deadpool and Wolverine. Another film adaptation no one asked for, Toys R Us, is apparently becoming a film. They have partnered up with production company Story Kitchen, and they're now developing a feature film based on the company's store. So Story Kitchen is already a company that specializes in producing films based on games, and this film is apparently going to be in the similar vein to Night at the Museum, Back to the Future, Big Jumanji, and Barbie. Another adaptation, The Mortuary Assistant, the horror video game, is getting a movie as well. Willa Holland and Paul Sparks are leading the cast. This is going to be directed by Jeremiah Kipp and produced by Epic Pictures horror label Dread. And this film is going to be following then Rebecca Owens, a recent mortuary science graduate who discovers dark supernatural forces during her night shifts. And then Discord co-founder Jason Citron, who helped build the platform and turn it into a major part of the gaming world, is now stepping down as CEO, but he is going to be staying on board as a member and advisor. He will be replaced by Humam Sakhnini, and that is a former Activision Blizzard executive. Apparently, they are now going to be leading Discord through its next phase, which is including plans to eventually go public. And those were the news. Those were the Nymn news that we had this week on Nymn's News Network. Was there anything important that I missed here? Elden Ring has sold 30 million copies, says Falcon. So there's that. Nothing showed their updated modular phone. Pre-order is available now, and the price starts at €249. Vapor, right? This one we saw, but there will now be life-size Vaporeon plushies for sale. Well, actually, all of the EVs, I think, will be for sale. Freerun Chapter 141 is still not out. Good. Overwatch 3 is coming to mobile. What? Nexon is working with Blizzard to create a new game utilizing StarCraft and Overwatch IP. Overwatch Mobile. It's said to be a game in the MOBA genre on mobile platforms. It was also collectively referenced as Overwatch 3 by the Korean game companies that participated in the bidding. Breaking news! This guy has a joke. Go ahead, Alwaker06. What's your joke? Why did the bicycle fall over? Really, bro? This is like ChatGPT, because it was too tired. This is like if you asked fucking ChatGPT to give you a joke. It gives you this, or why? No. Oh, okay. Why did the bike fall over then? This fucking guy.